Welcome to Ghost Story. Did you really see a ghost? Yes, believe me. What's the use of telling you fake words? From all our incidents and experiences, even though he believed everything he knew, he didn't believe in ghosts. After hearing some rare experiences in my life, don't tell him shit and you don't have to tell lies. You have told me many stories. By force, I can't believe that I came to my house for a reason. Immediately after I came home, there was a huge storm and the electricity went out. Shaquille said, "Look at the distance. I don't like the situation anymore. There was no cloud on the way. I didn't bring an umbrella." I said it's fine. Which I rather rub with a cup of Chanachur oil. Tell me hot tea and tell me that ghost story you made. Time will pass very well. The current did not come then, and the speed of the rain increased by several times. Shaquille took a sip of the teacup and said, in a tone of carelessness, "Listen, tell me if you feel a little scared. When the current comes, it will not happen again." However, I did not protest against those sarcastic words. With a sip in a cup of tea, I started to say that you know that in my field, there is a lot of stress and trouble in these jobs, from the hustle and bustle of office work. And for these jobs, I have to go to various places and spend the night. Even that time, I went to work in the office. I am of service, I didn't stay, but I went to Birdwan 2 months ago. Then, of course, I had to stay there for one night, and the incident. Then Shaquille raised his hand and said, "I know. Then tell me the real story." I started saying, I was a little late in reaching Birdwan that time, but it was not my fault. The train was late at Birdwan station. When I got down, it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Meanwhile, the work had not yet started. I was very hungry. At the station, I ate something and went straight to our client's office. After finishing work there, it was 6 in the evening. Meanwhile, I had eaten the canteen of that office, so I was hungry. I didn't give much after work and reached the station quickly, but I had so bad luck that a few minutes earlier an up train left, and then there is a train after that, of course, at 9 p.m., but it sometimes gets late, sometimes by an hour, sometimes, or what will you do? Not getting it, I decided to spend the night at the station. Then I was about to say that just at that moment, there was a very loud banging sound outside. We both got a little startled. I bought the ticket for the last train and asked the station master if there was any place to stay there. The station master shook his head and said that it is not Sildaba Howrah, so for now I have to stay at this station. I had to endure the mosquito bites and started waiting by leaning on a chair located in the middle of the station. There are shops, so before they closed, I quickly went and got bread and curry for the night and a packet of biscuits, thinking to get on the train and eat it. It was 9 o'clock at night. I didn't get any news about the train coming, so I forced myself to move towards the station master's room and saw him lying down on a long bench to get a sheet. His tier, I have to repair it and run the train again, but I don't know when it will happen. This night I got into a big trouble where to spend the night. I ran towards him and asked Dada if there is any hotel to stay here. The man who stayed for one night dropped the water pick on the road and said, "Yes. Why is it not available? The one near the station has closed long ago. 2 kilometers from here you have a hotel. Get it at 11 p.m. I couldn't figure out what to do, whether I should stay at the station or walk 2 kilometers. I don't even know how the problem of thieves is this night. To be honest, I started to get a little scared. My station gradually became empty of people. There was no one except me in the entire station. I was on that bench without any help. I put my bag on my head like a pillow and lay down on a thin sheet. I don't know how long the night will be. Suddenly, I woke up with a very loud cough. Looking ahead, I saw an old man sitting with a sheet wrapped around his eyes. I saw that several lights of the station had been turned off. 2 of them were on. The light was not very strong. In the dark, a sparkling atmosphere was created. As soon as I sat up at the station, the man sitting on the ground a little far in front of me also moved. I frowned. I looked at him, and there was nothing special except for a small, dirty cloth bag. The man sat down to get a newspaper on the ground. I looked at the watch and didn't see it. It was almost 1 o'clock in the night. Don't know, I started doubting again and again that I had a lot of money with me, and I was afraid because of that money. I looked at him with doubtful eyes for a minute. Suddenly, the man sitting in front of me said in a strange voice, "Does Babu live in Kolkata?" "The bag is good." I grabbed my lap and said, "Yes," the man said with a little case. "And you are not afraid? I am not a thief. I will not steal that bag of yours." I was shocked to hear the man's words. How did the man know what I was thinking? The man laughed and said, "The way you hold the bag." I was surprised that everyone will understand that there is. The man has vision. I asked him when this train will arrive. I heard that he has broken down before tomorrow morning. Hearing this, my head became paralyzed. I have to spend the whole night in fear with a stranger like this, the doomed man said again. The source of work came. I shook my head, said the man. "My name is Madan. I live here. It is very hot in the house, so I am coming to sleep at the station." I am surprised when I hear the man saying that the man is hot in the house. The man is so closed in the station. As soon as I remember the words, the fear came down on me several times. You know, Shakil, I am more afraid of a madman than a ghost. After listening to me, Shakil shook his head and said, then. Hearing the man's words, I did not give any answer and took out a packet of biscuits from the bag and started eating. The man looked at me with one glance. There was no way to see the man well in this light and darkness. I could only understand that, except for the man's face, his eyes and mouth were covered with a blanket. It is unclear, but what I understand is his full cheek beard and his eyes are very strange. Suddenly the man said, "Give me a biscuit." He is very hungry. At a distance of 20 hands, I threw the packet of biscuits at him. There is no way to understand the expression on his face when he got the packet in his hand. The man put a biscuit in his mouth and said, "You know, I also had a family, parents, wife, children. Everyone was there. I was leaning on the bench. I kept the bag aside and asked the man why he was saying because no one else is alive." I felt very bad hearing the man's words. I said, "Very sorry that he died. How can you listen to so many things? To do I can't go, so it's a good way to spend time." I said, "I'll listen to the man." He started telling me that I used to live in Kolkata because of my family. Then suddenly my job went away. I tried to find a job. In touch, old-fashioned people like us started to become a total garbage for the company. Many people left their jobs with me. After trying hard for almost a month, when I couldn't collect anything, I was forced to return to this village house. My parents were already there. I, my wife and son, came and gathered that food. 5 animals naturally pulled on it. I went out to earn wages. I walked all day in the hot sun and entered the house. Then there was nothing left in my body. It started with little things. I would suddenly get angry. I started drinking moderately to ease the body pain. And finally, it was such a situation that people knew me more as a drunkard than a laborer. After saying this, the man stopped, then burnt a couple of biscuits in his mouth, chewed and drank water, and started saying again. I looked at the clock and said it was 3 o'clock in the morning. The man said like this. Months and years passed by. Suddenly, one day I went back home and had a quarrel with everyone. I cut the blood with Finky blood began to come out. The floor of the house began to be flooded with blood. I stood like a stone and looked at the corner of my eyes with a smile. Hearing the last words of the man, I felt like my head was shivering. In a moment, a cold drop of blood went down through my body. I couldn't sit there any longer because of the fear of the current. My throat was dry. The man continued saying, "Then I didn't feel much sadness, and neither did I get pleasure from the murders. I can't explain the feeling that I felt. Then I buried the bodies in the ground under my house and said, at that moment my face fell. My bag fell out of my hand with a loud noise. I don't remember what happened after that. When I regained consciousness, I was lying in the railway police office, and a man was sprinkling water on my face. When I regained consciousness, I got up and sat up. I was shocked to hear that he has survived. What does he mean? You were walking along the train line in a sleepy state, and at that time the train was coming on the up line. Fortunately, I was able to see it earlier, otherwise I was dumbfounded. I asked in what way. Well, was there any other people there? Where are the people? The whole station was empty. There was no one except you, I said with a trembling voice. Then who was he? The station master was surprised and asked who was the person sitting in front of me. Master frowned. He looked at me and then said something strange. Do you have a problem in your head? What are you talking about? There was no one except you. I did not speak. Then I took the train back to Calcutta in the morning. As soon as I finished speaking, there was another loud thunderbolt, and immediately I knew gust. It opened with a noise in the air. It did not open. No one opened it. I can't say. And Shaquille and I looked at each other's faces with great fear. I see that Shaquille is very scared like me.